This is Music with Mason here. I am currently still at the Electric Park Ballroom for a Chaos of the Cause 4, this time with NonGrata.
Any day now could be the end. Keep others safe, hide your transgressions. The cost of living never felt so high. Breathe, everything is everlasting. Breathe, don't tell me that you can't. I don't wanna feel any more disconnected from this life I thought I knew.
So, how are we doing today, guys? How are we doing?
Good, man. Pretty good. Excited to be back.
Correct me if I'm wrong. This is the 4th consecutive Chaos for a Cause you have attended.
He's correct.
Last year you raised over $10,000.
Yeah.
We're hoping to break it again.
Yes. That was awesome. 10,000 was our goal last year. Not sure what the goal this year is exactly, but as long as it's bigger and better, that's the goal every year. So.
That's right. And me and Joe have done an interview before.
Couple of them.
And we have, I interviewed you for Gabe's interview, which is not released yet. So we're gonna hold that off. But I did an interview in college last year.
That's right.
It's been a whole year,
Yeah.
which is crazy to think about. Now I get the whole band, which is a treat by itself. So NonGrata, the alternative metal band based out of Iowa City, Iowa, and they recently just played at the Briar Patch in Bevington, Iowa. And they have released multiple singles, including The Beast in Me, Left in the Dark, and Disconnected, and countless more. And you've also released your very first cover album last year.
Yeah. First covers EP.
That's right.
It's a good time.
And just to start it off, break the ice, do you remember a battle for $10,000 worth of shit?
Oh, yeah, dude. That was fun. We did that last year. It was like an online thing. Virtual Battle of the Bands. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you made it to the 8th. You were one of the last 8, right?
Yeah, it was like the semifinals or just before the semifinals.
So, yeah.
I think it started like with 32 bands overall, and like we didn't really expect anything out of it. You know, it was just sort of this like, hey, let's throw our name in the hat. You know, we weren't. And when we saw the other competition and stuff, like there were some really established bands that were on that list. And
right.
We didn't expect anything. We logged in and it's like, oh, we made it through the first round. That's cool. Which I think we made it through because one of the other bands that we were supposed to go up against,
they forfeited.
They forfeited or dropped out or something like that. So we were like, oh, we gotta buy our first week, sweet. And then we won like 2 or 3 more weeks in a row, and it was like, oh, we might have a good shot at this. And then just didn't come up with it on the end, which is fine. But no, it was
you
a
still
cool
got pretty
experience.
far.
Yeah, it was way farther than we ever expected.
I think that last one we only lost by, I think like 10%.
Yeah, it was pretty close.
Yeah.
Something else I wanted to mention is something that's a part of the band itself is the jerseys you wear with your last names on the back. What does the 18 represent?
So we started as a band in 2018 when I was in college, and so we just decided to put 18 on the back to represent the year that we started. The jerseys are a fun story. So I don't want to ruffle any feathers or anything.
No, ruffle them.
We're gonna
ruffle
them.
all the feathers.
It's fine. But so we printed the jerseys originally. I did like a test run of them a couple years ago. And we were talking about getting them for the whole band and if we wanted to do that for our like stage look or whatever. We were all in for it. And so we got the jerseys and started using them every time. And another band that we idolize, Nonpoint, we've played shows with them a couple of times. And they've always been awesome every time we've played with them. And I've seen them, a number of times on my own or whatever too. And they're like big influences for us. And then they played a show and I was looking at pictures online and I'm like
2 weeks after we started using the jerseys.
Right. And I'm like, are they wearing NonGrata jerseys? And I zoom in and I will be damned if it's not the exact same jersey, but instead of NonGrata, it says NonPoint. It was like, obviously probably wasn't intentional or anything like that, but I'm sure they ordered them from the same exact website that we did.
Wow.
It's just one of those weird, coincidences.
Didn't they have a show with you guys? Did they wear those jerseys there?
I don't think they hadn't had them yet. We had them, but we hadn't started wearing them on stage. But it was like a couple weeks after we played our
biggest
show.
coincidence.
Yeah, and it was like I was looking at the pictures.
They were at like Louder Than Life, weren't they?
It was some festival they were playing, and I zoomed in, and I was like, I think those are our jerseys. And I'm like, nope, that says Nonpoint. And I'm like, cool. So. I definitely didn't want to like steal their look or anything, but there we are. So
Something else big about NonGrata is that one of the first things you did was do a Creed cover.
Never have done a Creed cover. We joked about.
You joked about.
We joked about. Oh, you did
Facebook.
one. Yeah,
but
So it's not official. It's just
that started as an April Fool's joke.
Yes.
Where
I got fooled in October.
there was actually a number of people who were like, "Let me know when it comes out. I'm so excited to hear it." It was an April Fool's joke where I took a Creed promotional photo and I just pasted our faces over the members of Creed.
You got it.
But if there was ever going to be a band to do a Creed cover, I think we could pull it off.
we could do it.
Yeah. How did you get to play with Holocene and No Resolve?
So we do a lot of shows in the Iowa City area through Metro. They're one of the bigger promoters in the area, one of the only promoters in the area. And when touring bands come through, we work with them, and they usually are in charge of finding the opening acts. And so we get a lot of shows through Metro and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, we've opened for a number of people at Wildwood, and that was one.
Yeah. Something else that was a really big coincidence, you played with Norma Jean during the Super Bowl.
We did, yes. And I remember, I think it was when we were on stage, we stopped after a song to watch part of the game because there was a touchdown.
We played during halftime.
Was it halftime?
We played during halftime
of the Super Bowl. It was halftime because we were making the joke all day that we were playing the Super Bowl halftime.
Yeah.
Which Super Bowl was it?
It was last year. Yeah.
Chiefs and Eagles?
It was a Chiefs Super Bowl. So
no, it was Chiefs and 49ers, right?
I don't know. I don't.
versus the refs.
It might have been Chiefs Eagles.
No, it was Purdy was in the Super Bowl.
No. I think it was Chiefs Eagles though, because it wasn't Death Rattle tour. It was 2 Norma Jean shows ago.
Yes, not the last one.
That's the one I have the poster for.
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, it would have been Chiefs Eagles.
So, did Greg leave because of engineering?
Yes, Greg left because of engineering. He got an incredible job working for a company up in Wisconsin. Essentially, he was testing military vehicles, which was super cool.
How much of this can you actually say?
That's about all I'm gonna say. I think that's about where it is. But no, Greg has been doing awesome. He actually recently moved to Mexico to be a diving instructor. And I talked to him about it a couple weeks, and he teaches scuba diving on a resort in Mexico and traveling the world. And I wish him all the best. He's been doing great. So.
Something that might seem I'm not sure if you remember this, but you submitted for the Hit Parader's No Cover show.
Yes, that was at an awkward point
that was
NonGrata history.
That was right after I joined.
Yeah, you had just joined, and actually it was ironic because we joining that Hit Parader show or auditioning for the Hit Parader show was the point where the band kind of split up in a sense. It was one of those things where if we got chosen to go, it was going to be 2 weeks, and Brandon, our original guitar player, had just gotten a kick-ass job. And he was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to take off 2 weeks, and he was living out of state at the time, and he just, at the time, couldn't commit to continuing to do band stuff and working this new job, and so that was when we made the decision to start rebuilding the lineup, essentially.
Yeah.
That's when I got a hold of
Called
Joel.
me at 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Hey, you wanna play guitar in NonGrata?
Yeah.
Cool. We have a show in 3 nights. Have fun.
Yeah, he learned
Okay.
it. And to his credit, Joel learned our entire
I taught him
set.
how to play guitar. So
Bryce, before he was in NonGrata, helped Joel learn how to play our entire set in 3 days. And then
He didn't help me learn the NonGrata songs. He helped me learn how to play guitar.
right.
Which was well before I joined NonGrata. To be fair.
Right. Yes.
I'm just adjusting it. Don't worry, I'm gonna edit this out. You're good. I gotta get all your beautiful faces in it. So.
Yeah, Jaron keeps scooting further away from me.
He's
covering
magnetized.
my face.
That's perfect. Okay. Do you remember Interlight Studios?
Yes, we remember it. Like
Does Ari compete in bodybuilding competitions?
Oh yeah. Ari's the man, dude. He is a Greek god. Like with a name like Aristotle Mihalopoulos and the body that he has. He does. He does all kinds of bodybuilding competitions, and he's been in magazines and all that kind of shit. Man, he's the man.
How much of Interlight Studios have you used with your music?
About half, I think. Maybe more than half at this point. He's our go-to. Like anytime we need to record something, he's local to us. You know, he lives 5 minutes away from me. he's just he has everything we need. He knows exactly what he's doing, and his workflow works perfect with what we're trying to do. So
Right. Do you remember the NonGrata gnome?
yes, my mom made that for me. That was a gift. The NonGrata gnome. My mom is a very crafty person, and she decided she was going to make gnomes as gifts, and she put a NonGrata hat on the gnome, and he comes to all of our family events now, and hangs out by the food and guards the turkey.
And you still have it?
I do still have it. Yeah, he sits in our band room at my house. Yeah.
What is an apple pie shot?
What is an apple?
From Cedar Ridge Distillery.
Oh, okay. Jaron drank a lot of those that day. You want to talk about the apple pie shots, Jaron? Do you remember the apple pie shots?
I don't really know.
When we did our photo shoot.
I don't remember.
Metalocalypse.
It was. I'm trying to remember what was in it.
I think it was just the apple pie moonshine that Cedar Ridge made.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, we did that. We did it was called Metalocalypse. It was the show we played at the McGrath Amphitheater in Cedar Rapids. We did a big local metal showcase there, and Cedar Ridge is one of the sponsors. And yeah, they had apple pie. It's like our signature drink or whatever for the show. Yeah, probably had way too many of those.
And do you remember glass houses?
These guys won't remember glass houses, but I do.
At Bierstube.
Yeah, up in Rock Island, I think it was. That was one of our first shows opening for a national touring act. And I had never been to Bierstube in Rock Island, but yeah, it was cool because you walk in, it was a super old building, and the stage was literally made out of milk crates with plywood on top. And I remember
that sounds safe.
when we would jump on stage, you could feel the whole thing shaking. And I think they ended up closing or just stopped doing shows there shortly after. So
OSHA showed up.
Yeah, OSHA showed up. Right.
Did you play with Nita Strauss?
We did play with Nita Strauss. Joel has a wonderful Nita Strauss show. A story from that show.
God.
Bryce, I think you should tell the Nita Strauss show.
So we're sitting there by the bar, and Nita did a meet and greet beforehand. And so they're like, all right, everybody quiet down, whatever. And we're sitting over there, just kind of standing, making small talk. If you haven't noticed, Joel's voice projects.
In my
bit.
defense,
And his laugh.
someone made me laugh.
That was the first problem.
That was the first problem. Someone made me laugh, and I can't control the laugh sometimes. It's just loud. And so I started laughing, and I quieted myself really quickly, and Nita Strauss looks right at me and says, "We're trying to do a VIP. Can you shut up?"
Which I'm sure was his shining moment for sure.
I mean,
Definitely not
I've had-
something you want to happen.
I've had worse things said to me, but yeah,
Maybe not by somebody that well known.
this is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna go into the fun part. I have some personal questions for each of you.
Oh boy.
So, Joe,
This could go anywhere. I'm ready. Go for it.
did you do a verse on a Sleeping Around and a Zemuth song?
Yeah. So Azimuth was actually when Greg moved up to Wisconsin after he left the band. He's found some guys that just needed a drummer, and they were younger kids, and he was trying to fill in and help them out. And they actually came down and recorded at Interlight with Ari. And he called me and he was like, "Hey, we have all these songs, they're already written, but our singer doesn't know how to scream, and we're recording this weekend." He's like, "Can you just come in and record some background screams and stuff like that?" And I was super down for that. And we went in, and they actually needed a verse on one of their songs that they weren't sure they were going to have time to record. Yeah. And while they were recording the other parts, I was sitting there and I wrote something down, so I got to write one of the verses on that, which was cool. And then Sleeping Around is actually where we got in touch with Jaron. He was were you in Sleeping Around, or was it a different band?
Yeah, it was like one of my high school friends his name was Rick. He kind of had an ongoing project with me, and I think one other person named Daniel, and we just had a couple of songs. Cause I can't remember if he was kind of traveling around a lot at this point, but he was kind of back home.
He does a lot of modeling though, right?
Yeah, so he was kind of modeling. I can't remember if I was full swing or not, but I think it was kind of a little bit before that. So he was just kind of back in town. We were doing some songs, and he wanted someone to scream on some songs. So he got in contact with you through Greg, right?
Through Greg, I think, because Greg was a mutual friend, and then while we were at Inner Light, where he recorded those as well, I was talking to him about the new NonGrata lineup, and we were looking for a bass player, and he's like, you gotta ask Jaron, dude. Like, I'm gonna be gone doing all this modeling stuff for the foreseeable future. He's like, he's not doing anything, and so that's how we pulled Jaron in, and I think I, at one point, like, kind of...
Basically, you were rehomed.
Essentially,
yes.
I kind of, laid it all out for Jaron and told him about the opportunity, and his response was like, yeah, that sounds good. And I think that's probably all I got out of it. So,
pretty much.
took about a year for him to start talking to us like people. So.
Where did you meet Slipknot?
Where have I? Oh, recently. I met Slipknot at Hy-Vee in Iowa City. They were doing a bottle signing. And like 3 of the members were there. I waited in line for 2 hours and got a bottle of whiskey signed by Slipknot. I met Corey Taylor the summer of my senior year of high school at one of his Q&A book tours he was doing, and I met Clown when I was in college. He did a VIP like Q&A for his film Officer Down that he released, and we went to like the premiere of that at Film Scene in downtown Iowa City, and yeah, I got to hang out with him for a bit. So
Right?
yeah, I'm crossing them all off slowly. They're my favorite band, so any chance I get to talk to any of those guys, I'm definitely jumping on it.
For sure. And you also recently visited the Ren Fair.
I love the Ren Fair, and I get so much shit from everybody about my obsession.
We don't give you shit for it.
That's fair.
We go along with you.
Occasionally. I'm the only one who wants to dress up and have fun at the Ren Fair, though. So, yeah, I love going to the Ren Fair. It's just something I've done since I was little, and I love being there and love all the acting and the immersion and all that kind of stuff. I'm all here for it. So.
What is Lost Allies?
Lost Allies was my very first band that I was ever in. I can't believe you dug this deep on some of this shit. This is crazy. Yeah.
You're Joe Jeffhart. We have to know.
Right, yeah. So that was my first band that I started in high school with a bunch of my mom's friends, ironically enough. They were all well into their 30s and 40s, and I'd never been in a band before, and they kind of took me under their wing and showed me the ropes. That was the first time I wrote lyrics. It was the first time I sang on stage that wasn't for like a school event or anything like that. So really kickstarted my love of playing in a band. So yeah.
You actually have a bachelor's degree, right?
I do. I have 2 bachelor's degrees, and I'm almost finished with a master's right now. Thank you. Yes, I appreciate it.
You're the only one who graduated college. And
No, I done it. I just quit after
okay,
like
fair
3 or
enough.
4 years.
Right. So, yeah, I'm working on a master's degree right now, which has been the bane of my existence recently. So,
Which one did you reference the Black Sabbath song in the essay?
oh God, my senior year of college at Iowa, I took just as like an extra class. I've actually referenced Black Sabbath now that I think about it in a number of college essays. In my senior year of college at Iowa, I took a rock and roll class just as like extra credits, something fun to do. And I wrote a paper on Black Sabbath. I wrote a paper on Slipknot. And then in my master's degree, I was doing a research essay on Vietnam era music and anti-war protest music. And I wrote like an entire paper on war pigs, which was pretty cool. So, yeah, man. That's crazy that you know that.
Mason tattooed the Jedi logo on your arm?
Yes, Mason Marquez at Crimson Lotus in Wilton, Iowa. Star Wars has been one of my favorite things growing up, and so yeah, I've known his family forever, and he was working on an apprenticeship, so I went in and got some ink from him. It was awesome.
Do you still work at Wilton High School?
I do, yeah. I teach history at Wilton. It's my 5th year. It's been just as crazy as being in a band and all the other stuff. So.
And you wrestled for Wilton?
When I was in kindergarten, yes, I wrestled. Holy crap, man. Yeah, I wrestled for Wilton when I was in kindergarten. There's a great picture of me, which I don't know if you can put it in here or something, but there's a great picture of me in my Beatles my Beavers singlet, so yeah.
What is Ghost Walker?
Ghost Walker, Jesus Christ.
Brewdog.
Yes, Brewdog is a brewing company based out of Columbus, Ohio. And they did a limited run of a non-alcoholic beer for Lamb of God, and Ghost Walker was Lamb of God's non-alcoholic beer, which I believe they released like right at the beginning of COVID shutdown. And I bought like 2 6-packs of it, and
you didn't save any for me when I became sober 2 years later? Come on, man.
I know I did not have the foresight to know that Joel was getting sober, but Yes, I would have saved some for you.
But speaking of brewing and alcohol, you used to brew.
I currently brew. Yeah, I work on meads primarily. I haven't dipped my fingers in beer at all, but
Give it time.
give it time. Yeah, I do mead primarily, but it's just something I've been working on over the last few years. You know, going to Ren fairs, it fits the vibe. So, yeah.
Did you throw for the U.S. Open for axe throwing?
I did, yeah. In Iowa City, when I was finishing up my time at Iowa, an axe throwing bar opened up in Iowa City, and I actually conveniently grew up throwing axes and tomahawks with my grandparents at their house, and went and got a job there teaching other people how to do it, and was competitive for a while. And yeah, I threw on at the U.S. Open in Des Moines, which... Cool story about that was I was supposed to be on ESPN, and they were supposed to be there all day shooting. It was supposed to be on ESPN 8, the Ocho, when they were doing that. And the ESPN truck that was carrying all their camera and sound lighting equipment broke down on the way there. And so by the time they got back on the road, they made it just in time to set up for the finals. And so they didn't get to record any of it. So I was before telling everybody like, "Oh, you got to watch ESPN. I'm going to be on there," and like pumping myself up. And they were like, "I didn't see you," and I'm like, "Yeah. I know," but missed opportunity.
But other than that, you were a two-time regional champion.
Yeah, in Iowa City, which, I mean, for what that's worth, I believe there was like 5 or 6 other competitors, so it wasn't the most competitive environment, but tack that on my wall of trophies, I'll take it.
At Hatchet Jacks.
That's right, Hatchet Jacks. Love it.
10. You actually threw 10 straight bullseyes?
Yeah, it's a perfect game. And since I've stopped throwing axes, I think all the rules have changed, so I don't even think that's necessarily relevant anymore. But yeah, I've thrown a couple perfect games, and it's fun, man. Yeah, I love it.
And what do you remember about Rock of the Rouge? In 2016.
Rock on the Range. The festival?
Yeah.
Rock on the Range was like the first music, well, not the first festival I went to, but the first like 3-day music festival I went to. They'd done that for a number of years in Columbus, Ohio at the soccer stadium. Now it's called Sonic Temple, which is, I mean, it's one of my dreams to play that festival. It's easily the best festival consistently every single year. The lineup is incredible. And I've gone 3 or 4 times. And yeah, Rock on the Range, I went with my dad and a couple of his friends, and 3 days, over 100 bands. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah.
All right, now we're moving on.
Thank you.
Bryce. Are you the father of cats?
I am the father of cats, yes.
How many cats do you own?
At the moment, I have 3. I have me and my girlfriend. We have her cat Belle. We have our new little kitten Beauregard, or Beau, and then my cat Baldric. His real name is Balls.
You were an all-state clarinet player?
Yes, I was. 4 years back then, I went to Dallas Center Grimes High School and Waukee High School. And yeah, I was a classically trained clarinet player. I did honor bands, all-state, some college as a clarinet performance major at Iowa State. And yeah, that was my life before I became a rock star.
This probably sounds really strange, and I don't know if it's true or not. Was your old bandmate a chicken?
Old bandmate chicken.
He sat right next to you?
Which band? What?
And it was a female chicken, too.
Trying to think of what.
It might have been after high school. I don't know.
Oh my god, the chicken shits?
Oh my god.
That was a musical that actually both Joel and I were in about
That was the
8 years ago.
Best Little
20
Whorehouse in
We
Texas.
played Best
I
Little
think.
Whorehouse
Yeah.
in Texas. It was my first local community theater, the Iowa City Community Theater, ICCT. It was my first show playing guitar for them. I'd been playing clarinet for about a year at that point, and different community theater stuff, and yes, that was, we called ourselves the chicken shits. We played all the shows, and we had the little jam sessions beforehand, played a bunch of classic rock. That was a really good time. That's actually kind of how we became friends.
Yeah, that was one of the first shows that we, well,
That's a
third maybe, I think.
Third one,
Third
yes.
show that we played together?
yeah, something like that. First big one.
What are you going to do with the box of taco sauce?
Well, I just seem to keep adding to it right now. Every time I order Taco Bell, I gotta get more sauce, and I just kept accumulating and accumulating. And when I moved out of his place into my current apartment, I had to take it out of the drawer that I had it in, and I put it in a box, and it's overflowing now. And
Soon it's gonna be a Rubbermaid tote.
yes, yeah, and have to get a bigger box here soon.
Do you still own the Lincoln Town Car your grandparents gifted you?
I do not, sadly. That car was pretty awesome. I had it for a couple years. It was a 97, 98 that I had gotten right after I got out of college. I only owned it for about a year or two because I loved that car, but my brother was driving it, delivering pizzas for Pizza Hut when he lived with me, and he threw the overdrive out of it, so it wouldn't drive faster than 40 miles an hour without over revving, wouldn't shift into high gear. So sadly, I traded it in for $500. I wish I would have kept it.
What is Heathen Soul?
Heathen Soul is actually the first band I ever had. About 9-10 years ago, 2005, we started.
2005?
15. I'm old.
What year is it?
2015, we started. It was a kind of a metal cover band. I started with a couple co-workers of mine from West Music, Susie and Alex, and Mark and Pat from Cedar Rapids that were from other bands. And we played anything from Iron Maiden, Metallica, we played some Atreyu, some Sabbath, Guns N' Roses, kind of all over the board for a few years. And we were going strong with that until COVID happened, and then we all kind of had to take a break. And then we've gotten together and jammed once or twice a couple years ago, but we want to get them back together. That was a lot of fun. They were really, really fun guys to play with.
Right on. Jaron,
Oh,
what is your opinion on Owl City and lights?
Like the fucking meme song.
10 million fireflies, bro.
Yeah, 10
You wouldn't
million
believe your
fireflies. I probably wouldn't believe my eyes.
Yeah.
10 million fireflies.
Light up the sky.
Light up
This
the
is
sky.
probably just
Yeah.
based off a random Facebook post you made in high school.
I was gonna
so.
say, you probably didn't find shit on me, dude. I don't really go on Facebook or anything. So,
What do you remember about the Warped Tour?
I went to like a few Warped Tours back in the day when it was still a thing. Saw some pretty cool bands.
Bring me the horizon.
Yeah, I saw those guys when like Sempiternal first came out, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Saw a lot of the old bands I listened to in high school, kind of, you know. And then, like, I think I went like 3 years, so saw a lot of cool bands for sure.
Who's Lucy, Ollie, and Becca?
I don't know who Ollie is, but like Lucy and Becca are probably like my old friends from high school.
I don't have anything else. I feel bad.
I told you he knows.
He's hard to dig up.
told you.
He's hard. However,
I like it.
For the record, you know about as much as we did
Yes.
for the first year that we knew.
I just learned a couple
I
new
just
things,
learned
honestly.
things
Yeah.
about it that I know.
Hard to crack.
Joel, you used to work at Hy-Vee?
A couple different times, actually, yeah. I worked there in high school as a courtesy clerk, and I worked there at the beginning of COVID in the meat department, and then I was backroom manager at one for about 6 months until I got tired of it.
Yeah. Now you and Bryce work at Coke.
We both work for Coca-Cola. He's a merchandiser, and I'm a delivery driver.
He left an Oreo poster on your ceiling.
He did. A couple years ago, like what was that? It was a Fairway ad.
It was an ad that Fairway had it, but it
Yeah.
was just like plastic foam poster. And afterwards, I was just sitting in the back room, and I asked, like, "Do we have to throw this away?" And they're like, "Nah." This was right after Joel had left Coke and had started working for Pepsi.
hadn't really left Coke.
Yeah, it was
That's
a long
another
story.
long story that we don't need to get into.
And he had started working for Pepsi at that time, and so I wasn't currently living with him, but I was living next door to him in another apartment. And
And
so
you still had the key.
I sneaked into his apartment and pinned it.
Snuck.
Sneaked.
Yeah.
Real correct grammar is important. I pinned it to a ceiling above his bed, so that'd be the last thing he saw at night and the first thing he saw in the morning every time he got up.
Yeah.
He was, you know,
Why did you dress up as an eagle for a parade?
Oh God.
Because he's patriotic.
Yeah, patriotic.
He loves America.
It was the 4th of July parade. Oh God, that would have been 10, ago, at least. My mom was working for the hospice house in Johnson County, which was named after the family that donated a ton of money to build it. It was called the Birdhouse. And so it was a float for the Birdhouse, and they wanted me to dress up as an eagle because it was the 4th of July. So I did.
And you were in choir.
I was.
Why were you in crutches?
That time?
First time.
What have I done that year? I'm trying to remember that. Because 2 years I was in All-State, and I was injured. I was in All-State for 3 years, but there were 2 years I was injured. From choir. I
don't know if you know this, but he plays drums and guitar.
sport.
Well, actually, one was a show choir injury. I broke my wrist during show choir practice. That was.
Fuck, do you do that?
We had this move where we bent backwards and had to hold ourselves up and like look at me. Anyway,
Dance if we want to.
God, why was I? I don't remember why I was on crutches that year. It was probably something knee related. I've always had issues with my knees. Like, it's been a fun time. I'm accident prone.
Do you remember being in a lethal injection chair at the Scott County jailhouse?
Oh God, yeah, no, I do remember that. I don't remember why. We were doing a tour, but God, that was my freshman year of high school. I think we did a tour there, and yeah, that's the most I remember.
Did you build a ramp in Arizona?
Did I build a ramp in Arizona? I did. It was a mission trip for my church youth group back when that would have been junior year of high school, something like that. That's actually where I think I got latent tuberculosis, funnily enough. If you want to talk about that.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
Because we were on the Navajo reservation, and yeah, it was really cool. The first year we went out there, we put a roof on a house. Second year it was the ramp. We took the train down there, and that was my favorite part because I love trains. That's a different story, but
You know why.
you know why. Yeah, do we have an hour? I could talk about trains.
Fun fact about Joel, he could tell you at any point where on a train line what line it is, where it's going, what the train is carrying, how long it'll take him to get there.
Do you want to tell him about the conversation we were having in text before we came up here?
I told him I was getting off the interstate when he asked when I was ready to go, and he informed me that in fact it was not an interstate. Indeed, it was a 4-lane divided highway, because technically the interstate stops being the interstate at the interchange that I was at, and then
the interchange north of that.
Thank you,
Yeah.
and I politely told him to mind his own business in much
Very politely.
more disgusting terms. Right?
Did you find a dog with a camouflage collar?
Oh God, yeah, that was.
How did you see it?
I didn't
The
find
dog
it.
or the collar?
I didn't find it. My ex-wife found it. Wandering the neighborhood, and we put it on Facebook trying to find whose dog it was. We did find the owner, so there's that. That's a nice little time.
Safe and sound.
The owner also had a camouflage collar.
Unfortunately, NonGrata, I have a few final questions for you before we send you on your way. First and foremost, what is the future for NonGrata? Are we going to be getting more EPs, more concert tours, dates?
Well, we're getting a sound check right now.
Sound check.
Right at the very end.
Yes. This is becoming a thing with us, Mason.
It's always when I talk to you.
Every time.
But
I'll quickly answer your question.
what's the future for NonGrata?
Yes, so we have a bunch more songs coming out. They're done, they're recorded. We got a couple videos that we're hopefully going to do by the end of the year. Our next song will hopefully be out in the next month or so. We finally got that all finalized. We're actually going to play it tonight, so if people are coming out to Chaos, they're going to get to hear that. Yeah, and just more of everything that we've gotten used to doing. So keep your eye out for bigger and better shows, more music, and just classic NonGrata.
Right. What would you tell the young and aspiring musicians who want to be in your shoes right now, playing the shows and doing what they love?
Get in a room and suck as long as you need to, and to build up the confidence to just get out and play. Be unabashedly open to trying new things and finding your own unique sound, and being honest with yourself, and don't let anybody tell you you can't do it.
Pretty straightforward. Yeah. Thank you, NonGrata, for being with us. We are so glad you're here for the 4th time in a row. Chaos for a Cause, and we'll see you in the next interview.
Thank you, dude.
Perfect.
God, you dug deep.